Hello, I'm NecroPolo. With Diabolus in Musica, my traveling acoustic project, we have just finished our tour in Transylvania. It will take some time to assemble this video, but as of recording it, it's Monday. Anyway, today's topic has nothing to do with it. The actual thing that started this video just happened a couple of weeks before, and on the way home, I just decided that I will make a video about it. So we had this live show around the middle of August with another band called Ørdøg. The place, Barba Negra, has quite a massive stage, so most definitely you cannot see these technical details of the guitar gear from the point of the audience. So after the show, there was this guy making a lot of very false conclusions about the actual gear we used. He was going like, yes, I can see that you still use real amps and real cabs, and it makes a real difference because you sounded so heavy, so analog, so big. I said, thanks mate, I've been using amp sims since 2009. And he said, no way, I could see the dual 4x12 cabs behind you guys. And I said, okay, they are just for decoration. They don't have speakers in them. Only some lights to make the logo visible. And this guy just completely ignored this info. He just started to bash people using digital shit because it doesn't sound real. He expressed how he hates people using earphones on stage, or let alone earplugs, because it's not masculine enough. Shit. So, repeating, I don't know, 30 times that the only true way is tube amps and real cabs on stage. All the rest of the bands who don't use this sound like shit live. Finally, I told him that, okay mate, but you started saying that you liked our live sound, and it's as digital as it can be. We use amp sims on stage. The big cabs are just there for decoration. You're listening through your eyes. And even worse for you, we use a mixture of in-ear monitoring and these full-range floor monitors for the guitar. And for your knowledge, I openly admit that I lost my masculinity 30 years ago when I started to use earplugs on stage. At that point, I think he got it. He lost his friendly face expression and he started some sort of debate, saying, okay, but you don't seem to enjoy it that much. Anyway, I said, what the fuck, man? I'm 50 years old and just a couple of weeks ago I had some pretty heavy arthritis. So around the age of 50 with dysfunctioning knees, sorry for not jumping around. He said, okay, but you cannot deny that the feeling when you stand before is the real thing, it's the real joy of playing music. The big volume and the tone. I said, well, you mean wanking? Like, wow, I sound so good and loud. To be honest, I think this kind of joy ended just after my very first loud band rehearsal, causing tinnitus, permanent ear ringing. To prevent more damage, I started to use earplugs around 1992. And when it comes to joy and performing live, I think the biggest pleasure for me is not the actual analogness or tube ampness of the gear. Instead, it's rather having great reference points. If I have a clear groove and defined guitar sound, then I can always sing on pitch and play in time. So giving a nice performance, that's what makes me happy on the first place. And the rest, you know, this trance-like state of mind, it comes when all the fundamentals are clear and you know that you can give a good performance. Well, this is where this actual story ends. From this point, let's go a little bit more technical. So when it comes to guitar gear, considering monitoring, you have three major choices. Number one is the old school way. You rely mainly on your onstage amplifier and cab. Your second option is using a floor monitor of some sort. It can be a normal wedge monitor that connects to the PA system or the monitor mixer of the band. For guitarists, it's also pretty useful to have a full-range dedicated monitor like the Headrush. Your option number 3 is using an in-ear monitoring system. It can be wired or wireless. If you don't jump around too much, then both are great. For the system, you will need a dedicated monitor mixer. Or maybe if you want to keep it very simple, then you will need a tiny personal mixer where you can adjust your volume versus the full mix. So, according to my experience, because I've used all of them during the years, I try to make a ranking from worst to best, from the point of providing great reference. To remove nostalgia and faded memories, I will try to talk about a quite recent experience, as last year we had a tour where we used all of them. The very first full album by Wackor was released in 2004, and we made a sort of anniversary tour. So during the first shows, I dusted off my old guitar gear, the Marshall JCM 900 SLX, with the old cab that I used back in the days. Then, around the middle of the tour, we switched to my 2010s guitar gear, a powered monitor with an analog amp sim. And finally, around the end of the tour, due to logistics, we had to switch to my present live rig. That's an amp sim plus an in-ear monitoring system. So this way I had quite a close comparison between them. So from the aspect of having great points of reference and clarity, by far the worst was a big loud amplifier on stage. The guitar gear that I used during the 90s and the 2000s. The best word to describe it is perhaps spongy. It was quite hard to sing. You know, the first club had pretty awesome acoustics. Still, the guitar sound just dissolved in the air. It was sort of impossible to find a sweet spot. Even though if you use a massive 4x12 cab, your guitar sound is sort of everywhere. Still, it's aimed to your pants. By the time it reaches your ears, it does it in a quite spongy way. It's not very defined, so it's very hard to find the right pitch with your voice. So you end up dialing the volume up. And after a level, even if I use earplugs, my ears started to lose perception and definition. So singing along was like flying blind, to be honest. So number 2, by the aspect of definition, was a dedicated full-range guitar monitor. It provides a quite defined beam of sound that's directed towards your head and ears. So for singing, you didn't have to crank it up too much to find good reference points. It gives you quite a confidence when you can feel that, right, I'm in pitch and in sync with the guitar notes. And the side effect of a defined, not so loud guitar sound is that you can hear what others are doing on the stage, even without using other monitors. You know, old school, small club style. So from this point, it's very difficult to find out that the winner of this comparison is the in-ear monitoring system by the aspect of clear reference points and definition. I repeat, my most relaxed, confident, and perhaps the best performances happened using the in-ear monitoring system. Period. So, for the full picture, it's not a perfect system considering functionality. You are completely dependent on the monitor mixer. If something goes wrong with that unit, then you are lost. And it happened. But fortunately, on the fly, the problem was solved by a good technician. So, having an in-ear monitoring system is not a guarantee for a relaxed performance. You will need a guy who operates it and who can fix problems when they appear. Well, nothing is perfect. Still, I couldn't find a better way for onstage than the in-ear monitoring system. It gave me the biggest confidence of playing tight, singing on pitch, and giving a good performance. And around the end of the day, that's what makes me happy on stage. That's all for today. See you somewhere in time and pitch.